The meme stocks seem to be grabbing all of the headlines right now, but the dumb money community is for the most part focused on good old-fashioned social arb trades. You know, the methodology that turned tens of thousands into tens of millions for us? Well, today we're taking a closer look at a stock that we first talked about a while back. It's up 200% in the past year, but in the past month it's pulled back from its all-time high. The stock is a play on the skyrocketing price of lumber, which is up over 200% as builders are scrambling to keep up with building demand. But the stock we're talking about today is not a lumber company. It's actually an alt lumber company, as in they make fake wood. More specifically, they are the largest manufacturer of wood alternative decking and railing in the world. The company is Trex Company Inc., ticker symbol TREX. Their boards are made of recycled plastics. They contain 95% reused materials. We've talked about them before, and the trade was put back on our radar by you, the Dumb Money community. You can be a part of that at dumbmoney.tv/discord. Specifically, Moon People and Value Wiz. They published a report about a month ago, just before the company beat their earnings expectations. That was back on May 11th, but the stock has been down since then. So today on Dumb Money, we are going to review their thesis on Trex and the housing boom and the DIY boom, and we're going to decide if we will be buying Trex or if there might be another beneficiary of the skyrocketing price of lumber. We are Dumb Money.
Three friends who turned $30,000 into $30 million using nothing more than Twitter and a zero commission trading account.
The suits that work on Wall Street, they call those people the smart money. That's not us.
Our goal is to help level the playing field for everyday investors.
We are Dumb Money.
Hey there, Dave here along with Chris and Jordan. We are Dumb Money. Welcome to Dumb Money Live. Before we dive into the lumber trade, I do need you to channel your inner lumberjack and swing your axe towards the like button, but be careful, we don't want any injuries. If you can destroy that like button without chopping your phone in half, we really would appreciate it. With all the focus on Bitcoin, Dogecoin, GameStop, AMC, Wish, BlackBerry, this lumber episode needs all the help we can get. Chris, Jordan, if you thought the meme stonks were headed to the moon, realize now that you have to cash in all of those to buy a single 2x4 piece of wood right now. So what's going on?
Hey, Dave, by the way, I just want to say, not that there's anything wrong with someone wanting to wear pink kitty headphones, but I just want to clarify that this is what I wear on vacation because it's my daughter's headphones, and it's the only headphones I have that have a mic attached to them where I can do the show from my iPad. So not that there's anything wrong with that if you just want to proactively wear these headphones, but that's the reason, because a bunch of people are talking about them in the comments.
I think they're great.
Okay.
I think you should that should be your look from now on.
Whenever I'm on vacation, this is what I have to wear.
They used to have bunny ears on them. I don't know why you took the bunny ear attachment off.
I didn't. I love the bunny ears. I don't know where they went. They must have fallen off. You know what? What I love about this trade is we have been talking about we started talking about two companies, not just Trex, but Trex and more than Trex, AZEK. Which is the Trex competitor, right? So they're basically the same company, more or less, right? They essentially make the same type of stuff, these manufactured poly wood flooring and decking, right? And we were talking about them early on in the pandemic, and we killed it on that trade, but I sold way too early. Did you guys sold out too early?
I sold.
Too, right?
I don't have any alt lumber in my portfolio right now.
Alt lumber, and I have been thinking about this trade from the very first second I heard the first rumblings about lumber pricing going up, right? And then thinking about it every day for some odd reason, and I don't know why, other than we were too distracted with other social arb trades, I never pulled the trigger on it. And then I heard that my pool builder told me that resin prices were going up, and I was like, right when I was about to pull the trigger on this trade, he told me that, and I was like, whoa, hold on, wait, if resin prices are going up, maybe that means it's going to get more expensive for them to manufacture this stuff as well, right? This fake wood. So I was like, put a pause on my all I did was pause my research, but then. This is where I love our community, okay? I would have then, you know what happens to me, like I move on to another social arb trade, I forget about this one, and I just forget about it for way too long, and then who knows what happens. I'm going through the high conviction reports in our Discord, which is dumbmoney.tv/Discord. For anyone that's not a member, you should definitely join.
It is free, absolutely
yes.
free. We don't charge anything to be a part of it.
Never.
There's no secret room that you have to pay to join. It's all free.
We kind of pay people because we gave them a free $10,000 portfolio to manage, and they get to keep the profits, do what they want with them. But by the way, so I read that report, and it's what brought it back to the surface, this trade, and it was a really good report. So hey, thanks community and whoever did that report, I forget. And
part of that report is actually a thesis that this could be an add-on play to the swimming pool trade, right?
Yes.
We've talked about how pool equipment is through the roof right now because of the freeze in Texas and all of that. And as people are redoing their pools, maybe they're redoing their decks. We can get more into all of these theses.
Yeah.
But Trex is down right now. That's the thing that's kind of just concerning, is that about the time this report came out, it has been going down, which to me, buying opportunity.
Yeah, so let's talk about why it's down, first of all. The reason why it's down is they had earnings, okay? So, and by the way, before we get started, guys, we're not financial advisors. This is not about us telling you what to do, so please don't replicate our trades. This is about what we do. By the way, I do own both companies. I own Trex, I own AZEC now. And please do your own due diligence, poke holes in these theses, and debate them. Debate them on the dumbmoney.tv/Discord channel. That's what this is all about. So here's the thing. They went down, guys, because they came out with earnings, and they have added a lot of cost with their new manufacturing facility. They basically have increased their capacity to produce Trex by 70%, or will be produced by 70% once they really finish adding to all the lines. On top of that, there has been inflationary cost across the board, which is my concern. I don't know the degree to which that was due to increase in resin prices, but I assume that some of it was. So I'm actually kind of a little glad I paused on that trade when I heard about the increase in resin costs. But they are addressing those issues by raising the price of Trex. But what they're doing is they don't want to raise the price and screw all of their contractors who have already quoted projects with Trex, because that would be bad for long-term relations. So what they said is, hey, we know that you quote projects like 90 to 120 days out, or 60 to 90 days out. So we're not going to raise prices until, I think it's August, like mid-August is when they're going to raise prices.
Basically pre-announcing a price increase because they have to, and giving people the opportunity to adjust their bids.
Correct.
Which makes sense. I think that's a great stance to take. If you can afford as a company to continue to produce the product at the lower cost and sell it at the lower cost, that's great. But is that why it's taken a hit? Is because their margins are going to suffer in the meantime?
Two things. Here's my thoughts on why I took a hit. I think that's the first one, right? The first one is that they're facing this inflationary pressure. They will address it in a few months, but it's going to take them a few months, guys. That means this next quarter, they're still going to have that issue with higher cost, okay? And they're not going to have a higher sales price on that fake wood. So they're going to get crushed a little bit on margins there. But they are increasing their manufacturing facility. What that will do is that will ultimately bring down their cost of manufacturing wood, because they'll be able to produce in higher volumes. They'll be able to purchase goods and they'll be able to purchase the inputs at higher volumes as well, which gives them more buying power, okay? And really more so than all of this, I think the other pressure on them right now, and we've seen this with so many COVID stocks and so many recovery stocks, are short-term traders that I think everyone is now kind of on to this high lumber costs would benefit kind of Trex and AZEC, but everyone knows that the lumber costs are going to come down. We know that. They are going to increase capacity. By the way, part of the reason
and they already have.
They are somewhat, not a lot, somewhat they have.
30%. I mean, I think it's 30% from the peak right now.
But Jordan, the peak is so much higher.
The peak was
down
crazy.
a little bit.
Right?
Oh my gosh. And also remember this, guys, part of the reason why lumber prices have gone up so much is because it's been a really wet spring, okay? And that makes it difficult for them to produce lumber. Now, here's the thing. It has continued to be an exceptionally wet late spring as well. So listen, I think it's going to take them a little bit longer to get out of this hole than they thought, but I am not concerned about that. Right now, the increase in lumber prices, it will come down over time. I don't believe that is the main driver. I think that opened up a lot of people's eyes to manufactured poly wood. And I think that people, Jordan, you know this, people plan this stuff so far in advance.
Yeah,
that,
I agree with this. So like I'm still seeing in my, we went for a walk in our neighborhood and we're seeing pools be built right now. And this is like, it's basically just blowback from COVID, right? So people started planning projects last summer, but it was impossible to get your project done last summer. And so people are getting it done this spring, so they're ready for the summer. And the thing, here's what I mean, the thing with Trex and any of these Polywood type companies, and I think Polywood is a brand, by the way, but they're not just making decking, they're also making chairs and seats and rocking chairs and Adirondacks and all these things, pergolas. I feel like people, if they're going to put the money in and you're looking at, the price of lumber right now, you might as well go with something that's going to last a lot longer, right? Especially for some of this furniture that's so expensive.
Yeah, and Jordan, if you want a real life example, I basically bid out my pool last summer. Okay, last summer. This is before any of this crazy stuff happened with pool supplies and the storm, right? I, at that time, even before there were any lumber issues, decided to go with Trex, okay, for my decking material.
Yeah.
Now, here we are almost a full year later, and they have not gotten to the point of buying that material yet, okay? So they have not even bought the Trex for something I did a year ago. So think about this for a second. Yeah. My pool builder just told me that in Texas, if you're looking to build a pool with him or the people that he knows, he's telling people you're 2 years out. 2 years out right now, right? So people that are planning their pool now and their backyard reno are looking at the prices of Trex and AZEK, right, their version, compared to wood, and believe it or not, they're almost exactly the same right now. I think it's like 10 cents more per foot or something like. It's so
which is
similar
crazy
right now.
because Trex is like the premium product. You know what I mean? Like so they're the ones that have the pricing power. I mean, they're the Kleenex, right?
Oh,
and somebody just commented. Sam 9539 commented that it's fugly. Maybe I think it's beautiful. They've got all sorts. They've got a range of colors. They do I think they do the best job of making it look. I mean, it doesn't look exactly like wood, but they've got some wood grains, and it looks very nice.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Jordan. Someone that's planning their decking right this second, especially for a pool, if it's for a pool project, that did it in the last 90 days at the peak of lumber pricing, that are obviously most likely going to go with a Trex type of product. Think about this. They are not going to be buying that Trex probably for minimum of 9 months, maybe as much as 18 months. Who knows? Maybe 2 years. I don't know, but it's so far down the road. This is unprecedented how far down the road we are with the gap between making that decision, which is being driven right now by the higher lumber prices, and when it actually happens. So what's going to happen is if lumber prices come down a year from now, or 9 months from now, or 6 months from now, I don't think very many of those projects are going to switch back, because once you have it budgeted for and you have your head set on it, at that point you're not continually checking, oh, should we go back to lumber instead of the Trex that we told our builder we wanted to build with? Probably not.
I think pricing has a lot to do with it, Chris, but I think it's also just, I mean, it's a better product, right? You don't have to, people are commenting, you don't have to worry about splinters, you don't have to stain it every year. I mean, it's just so maintenance free. You put it in and then you forget about it.
It's like permanent wood. It's like, to me, it looks enough like wood, unless you're really down there inspecting it, and you don't have to replace it. And you don't, like, every wood deck you see after about 5 years, you're going to want to redo that wood deck, right? And you don't do that with Trex.
Well, we know that, guys, but the reality is when someone's building a pool, most of America doesn't have an additional $5,000 to blow, even on something that's higher quality that will last longer. When they're building a pool, they're usually over budget, and they're looking for ways to cut money. So the bottom line is a lot of people do, probably way more people do choose traditional lumber. But right now, they probably won't. So this is a massive tailwind, and I think the market is misunderstanding how long that tailwind will last, because it's not about when lumber prices go back down. That's just the point at which decisions might start flipping back. But that will be 12 months down the road as to when the actual purchases happen from those decisions. So that is my primary thesis when it comes to Trek and AZEK is that we're going to get a much longer tailwind than the market appreciates. And by the way, that Trex, it's the same price as lumber, is their base product. What they've been telling the market, which makes sense, is that most people see that pricing and they make a decision on Trex. And then once they see the nicer Trex, the one that actually looks pretty good, they end up upgrading to that product, which is the higher margin product and way more expensive, right? Which is really interesting. And one thing that you might want to also note about Trex is because they haven't had the additional manufacturing, they have been postponing innovation projects for a long time. They basically came out and announced that now that they have the additional manufacturing lines, they could finally get back to innovation. So this is a company that has innovated a lot over the years. I think in the next 12 months, you're going to see a lot more innovation out of them because they're going to have the additional lines to commit to those innovative product lines, which are going to be huge for the market, right? Because those innovative product lines are probably going to come at a higher price. They'll be more differentiated. They might come with better margins, and they'll allow Trex to additionally stand out in the marketplace. And I think what I love about this market is we all know. Okay, let's just be honest. 20 years from now, we probably all know that these polywood products are going to completely dominate, right? There's just a matter of time before they dominate. We essentially have two companies, a duopoly, who are the only two companies out there in North America that are building the manufacturing capacity, building out the innovation pipeline, continually getting better and better and better, and decreasing their cost, right? Because they're making these things more efficiently. These two companies are setting themselves out to completely dominate over the next decade and a half, as more and more, because Jordan, would you agree that once you go polywood, you kind of never go back, at least when it comes to decking, right? For the most part.
Well, with decking, with furniture, with all of it, right? I mean,
all of it. Yeah. Because how many times, we've all been there. We've all had our first piece of outdoor furniture when we finally get that first house, right? And we're like so excited by the outdoor furniture. We're so excited if anyone gets to build a deck. It's so exciting, like having your own deck. And we've all done it. We usually all start with lumber. We all start with wood, and it looks amazing. And it just mind-blowingly, especially if you're in a state like Texas with a lot of heat, it's mind-blowing how quickly that furniture and that decking turns to absolute junk. And then you have to spend so much time refinishing it over and over. And you're like, oh my God, how much money am I going to spend on this decking and furniture? And you're like, I'm never doing this again. And then the first time you sit in one of those poly chairs or see the polywood at like a hotel or something like that, you're like, oh, dude. Yeah. Next time I'm doing this.
It's not the flimsy plastic. It's actually substantial, and it doesn't bend, and it's a very nice experience when you're sitting on it.
We've got a set of poly rockers that we've got in our backyard that I've literally had for like 8 years now, and they look brand new. Like they look brand new. You can't tell. I mean, they've got all the hardware stainless, and they're beautiful.
Now, if these companies could just come up with a different kind of pillow material that squirrels don't just shred, then we're all set for furniture. I'll replace it once and never think about outdoor furniture.
Wait, what is this? What happened?
You have pillows on your outdoor furniture?
Oh no, I take them in every night because the squirrels are maniacs.
So the squirrels love the little side yard, that front entryway that has the fire pit and the cow. So that is sunbrella material that's interwoven. I didn't go with pillows because I knew that was like squirrel bait. Yeah. So I went with this interwoven sunbrella, and they've just destroyed it.
Yeah, they're terrible.
It's a disaster. So they need to come up with a poly version of that.
You know what my neighbor uses to force the squirrels away? Fox urine.
You know what I'm not going to spray in my seating area? On my couch?
That's insane.
Little
Now you're making me nervous because we, with our pool, we have this deck, and on our little deck, it's like a mini little deck. Instead of putting like lounger chairs, we went out and bought this crazy like day bed from Pottery Barn that has like the curtains around it and the whole 9 yards, and it's insane. And I think the pillow, like the cushion, costs like $1,500. If they eat through that thing, I'm gonna have a major issue. So I might actually hit you up for that fox urine.
My neighbor's got a whole supply. He's like, you buy it, you get like a jug, and you just need a little bit, and you just kind of you don't put it on the furniture, right?
What's
You put
this
it like around.
ticker symbol for fox
Obviously,
yarn?
put it on the furniture. Oh my god! So hey, here's an interesting tidbit on the product itself. TimberTech, which is the AZEK, AZEK is the ticker symbol of the Trex competitor. The difference between TimberTech and Trek is that Trex is sealed on one side, just the exposed side, and they actually keep the underneath non-sealed under the assumption that moisture will eventually get its way into the interior, and they want to provide the way for moisture to then get out of the material. Whereas TimberTech, they go ahead and seal the entire piece of like fake wood, I guess. Like it's all completely sealed with poly, which I guess is kind of a nice marketing thing and allows them to kind of spin it as, hey, we're better than Trex. Although the reality, it was a decision made by Trex. They think it's actually a superior decision. But if you're out there shopping for this stuff, I don't know which one's actually better than the other when it comes to that methodology. They both seem to last a really long time. I think TimberTech has a 30-year warranty, and I think Trex has a 25-year warranty. So, like, I mean, they're virtually the same.
And I pulled up the chart for the other one, and they also have had this big sell-off in the past few months here.
Yeah, they're very similar. And like I said, I think it's people that are concerned that now when we start to see lumber prices coming down, which they already have come down some, as you mentioned, that the short-term traders will see that as a tailwind dissipating. I don't believe it to be a tailwind dissipating. So I think they're wrong.
Maybe. I mean, look, I want to get into these. My biggest problem is so like Trex. I mean, I know you don't care about this. It's a 60-something PE. It's pretty high. I think this was a trade, right? This was a pandemic fueled trade that I think people are unwinding, right? And so I don't know when the right time to jump back into it is, but I do agree with the thesis.
So here's the thing. If my thesis is correct, Jordan, they are going to have the 70% additional manufacturing line up and going now, I think within the next 30 days, 60 days, fully, okay? Trex has already come out and basically said, hey, we think we're going to get back to normalized demand levels towards the end of this year, is what they said. And what that means is they can start building inventory again. Because right now, they are selling out so much of their inventory. And by the way, Dave, like that high conviction report is great. If anybody wants to look at that, you can see in the report, they've been kind of calling, I think they were calling Lowe's and Home Depot, and it's really starting to sell. There's barely any inventory out there. Here's my thesis. My thesis is that this demand tailwind is not going to dissipate, and I actually think that they're going to see higher demand this fall and winter when it usually falls off than they're expecting. And I think that will be a positive surprise for the market for this stock. That's at least my thesis. And when they're producing, Jordan, 70% more Trex than they were this last year, and they're selling every last bit of that out, I think that's going to be a huge, huge win for the market and for the stock that following Trex. So, like I said, we'll see if the thesis plays out, but I think it will.
They did all the research. There's the Google Trends charts.
Yeah.
They did the store checks, calling stores, visiting stores,
and
getting
by the way,
an estimate for their own Trex deck, I guess.
Yeah, but well, no, that was great. I mean, I love that they did that. But by the way, this is actually a trade that we can keep a close eye on. This is a social arb thesis that we as consumers and social arb researchers can absolutely monitor throughout the course of this summer and the fall. We can keep tabs on inventory levels at the two major retailers, Lowe's and Home Depot. It's very easy to talk to Trex dealers. It's really easy to talk to AZEK dealers and just kind of ask them, like this summer, ask them in the fall, like, hey, has demand tapered off yet? Or is it still kind of crazy? Is it still back ordered, right? Like, that's easy for us to do as a community. And that's why I really like this trade. And I feel like if demand does start to taper off, which I don't think it will, I think we'll know about it. And by the way, Jordan, one thing that they haven't done yet is start to sell a wholesale in any meaningful way to the home builders. And now that they have 70% additional capacity, even in the worst case scenario where demand starts to taper off, they basically come out and said that, hey, we already are in major conversations with the largest home builders in America. We have not yet really been able to offer Trex as an add-on premium upgrade for them because we weren't able to guarantee them supply. But now that they have increasing capacity, they could potentially make those deals. And by the way, now that this manufacturing line is done and built out, they've also come out and said that they're going to start to rebuild the older manufacturing lines to make them higher productive lines and more efficient. Right, so further bringing down cost and further increasing capacity, and that's the next project that the company is doing. So, like, if you read it between the lines, they're doing all the right things, and I don't think demand is going to taper off. Even if demand does taper off, I think we have a situation where home builders are going to jump right in, and they have a buyer, maybe at a slightly lower margin, but they have a buyer for all that excess inventory. So I feel really good about the downside on this trade, and I think there's unanticipated upside if they continue to sell out every single board they make, which I think is a possibility for the next 6 to 12 months at full pop retail. So that's the thesis.
So there you have it. You own Trex and the competitor. I can never remember the other one because that's not the one that...
the competitor is AZEK, and it's Timber Tech is the name of AZEK's product. And by the way, like I said, that high conviction report was beautifully written. It was really simple. This is what I love more than anything about what we do on this channel is we have the world's most amazing community of social arb researchers and investors who, quite honestly, like, they're doing all the work. Guys, I can't thank you guys enough. In fact, I'm going to say something right now. That portfolio that we put together, and by the way, I'm still waiting on my check from Public to put that check into the portfolio. I think it's like, $3,000, something like that. As soon as I get that wire from them, I will put that in the portfolio. But I'll tell you what, right now, today, I'm going to wire another $5,000 in that portfolio for the community just to thank them for everything that they've been doing the last 60 days, guys. So that's happening as soon as I get off this episode, because otherwise, I'll forget. I will put another $5,000 into the Public dumb money portfolio. And all I ask for you guys is, by the way, if you're not signed up for Public, you must do it through dumb money. So what is the link, Dave, to sign up?
You can go to public.com/dumbmoney or dumbmoney.tv/public, and you'll be able to open your Public account, and basically, just like anyone else, it's an affiliate program. We get paid, but instead of keeping the money, we put it all into an account that it's a public trading account that you guys get to decide how it's invested and how to spend it once that account, and I guess they get to vote maybe even on when it's time to cash out and spend some of that money.
Yeah, every single week you vote on what you want to invest in the portfolio, and our mod team rebalances the portfolio, I think, every single Monday morning. So every Monday morning they rebalance it based on the voting that happens in Discord, and there's 10 stocks that the portfolio holds, and they rebalance it every week based on what the voting looks like as of Sunday night. So
learn more about it, ask more about it at our Dumb Money Discord community. dumbmoney.tv/Discord is how to get invited if you're not a part of it there. It's absolutely free. Never pay for anything that has the Dumb Money name on it. There are scamsters and fraudsters out there. We found a website that had our pictures on it that was promoting some investment scheme. Never pay for anything that we do. We will not be charging you for anything.
Also, never
investing advice and that
never
sort of thing.
wire money to anyone to manage for you based
Just
on
in
dumb
general.
money. On dumb in general, but
in general, don't let anyone else manage your money.
Yeah.
But know that we are not going to manage your money, and don't wire any money to anyone with our faces representing where that money is going, because it's not us.
No, there seems to be a lot of us out there, though, that look exactly like us, that are asking for people's money. Oh, man. Oh, man.
We don't want your money.
They'll be in the comments of this video, even though we're saying this. I mean, during the replay, I'm sure you'll see someone asking for money and a WhatsApp number to send it to. Don't do it.
By the way, so I'm going to say it again. We have some really good Social Arb episodes. This is just the first one of a handful that we're working on right now. that the community is working on. A couple of them the community is not working on, and I can't wait to talk about them over the coming weeks. We promise to do at least one episode a week, but when we can, 2 episodes a week. So please hit not just the like button for this episode, thumbs up, but please hit that notification bell so you know, because sometimes we do these episodes like last minute, and that way you'll get pinged by YouTube.
This one was not even announced until last night.
Yes.
And I need to check my calendar to see when I'm going to have a stable enough internet connection to do the next one.
All right. Well, I don't want to cut us off too short, but I have the beach looks beautiful out there today, and I cannot wait to get out there. So
You got to do it. Is it rainy season there, or is it like raining once a day?
oh my Jordan, it has not rained once.
Oh,
it
wow.
has been so amazing here. It's like mid 80s, sunny, but not so hot to where you can't even make it from your place to the beach, without like dripping in sweat.
I love that area.
The water is perfect. I absolutely, it's great.
Are you in Seaside? Or are you in?
We're in Rosemary Beach.
Oh, you're in Rosemary Beach. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, Rosemary Beach. We went to Red Bar last night, which is not. It's like west of Watercolor. I forget the town. Have you been to that place, Red Bar? It's like a southern bar.
Yeah.
It burnt down
Yeah.
to the ground. They rebuilt it. And I mean, when I tell you they rebuilt it to the inch exactly, I walked in it and I thought it was the exact place, 50, however old it was, with all the dust. I mean, it looks, I don't know how they pulled this off. It looks exactly the same. Such a cool, fun place to visit. If you're down here on 30A, in the panhandle of Florida, highly recommend checking out Red Bar. And if you have a family, just staying anywhere along 30A, it's just so easy. It's nothing but like, it's so odd. It's all Southerners. It's all people from like Mississippi and Tennessee. And now I'm technically kind of a Southerner that we live in Texas, but I'm not a Southerner, right? But it's great. It's great people watching. Everyone's nice. It's a really cool family centric place to vacation. Highly recommend.
And if you're in West Virginia and Fayetteville, I believe is where I am, I'm going to be at a place called Maggie's Pub tonight. If you want to come, I'll buy you a beer if you say that you recognize me.
Watch it. Well, that means he has a bet with Megan over how many people are going to recognize him today at the bar. Oh my gosh, too funny. All right, well, Dave, enjoy the rest of the week in your van, and I'll be back. We're about to get out of here soon, so I'll be back in Dallas pretty quick, and we'll see you guys next week.
We'll do a show. I should be available like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Awesome.
So have a great weekend. Enjoy your final time there in Florida, and thank you guys for tuning in. We are Dumb Money. We will see you next week.